understanding about the basic principle of the strength training. I try to mention you today what is strength, what is the function of strength, how many type of strength, and how is the every type are different, and how to train. Any type of strength belong to the characteristic of the type of the strength. And last but not least, how to train strength correctly. Most of the athletes, or many of the athletes, are injured from the weight training room if we not train properly. That's why we have to share idea today how to train strength training properly or correctly. Normally it's not so difficult, but not so easy to train strength correctly. I want to invite you to do this exercise together. This is a bullet squat. Maria, try to do this. He tried to do. This is a football player. He is my student in the university. This exercise is one of the most difficult one, because you need balance, you need stability, you need strength, and also you need flexibility and mobility in the same exercise. Yeah? Try this. Yeah? If you want to check your athlete have a good strength training or not, ask them to try this exercise. And I guess that many of your athletes, even they are very strong, they cannot do this exercise. Okay, now we come to the definition of the strength. A strength training, what is mean? Strength, what is mean? Normally, strength is the ability of the muscle to apply force or to resist to the force. That's why when we do a strength training, we have to use a resistance. Without resistance is not without resistance in the exercise. It's not a strength training. Strength training is development should be price concerned to the athletes who attempt to improve performance. It means that strength training can improve the performance of the athlete by using several strength development method or exercise. But the exercise and method must fit to the athlete and must fit to each sport. This is very, very important. Fit to the athlete first and then fit to the sport. Okay, now we come to the function of the strength, why our athletes have to train strength. First one, most of the coaches and most of the trainers try to improve the strength level of the athlete. Why? Because they want to increase the performance of the athlete in the competitions. Second one, with good strength training, we can be used in prevention of the injury. Proper strength training, better condition, better strength condition, athletes get less risk of injury. After the athletes have the injury, we also use strength training for rehabilitation. But I want to warn you, we also use some strength training exercise for rehabilitation. Yes, especially the plank exercise. I think most of you ask your athletes to do the strength training exercise, plank training exercise. Why we do plank? We do plank because we want to do the interlinks of the muscle all over body. And the interlink of the muscles, we name is anterior chains. It means the muscle who are in front of the body or anterior is linked together very well. And then we do the posterior chain. This exercise is anterior chaining. And if the muscle behind the body is the posterior chains, what is the posterior chain muscle? It's very important for sprinting, for jumping. Gluteus, hamstring, calf, low back, rhomboid, trapezius, latissimus dorsi, all linked together very well. So when you do when your athlete apply force, it can apply force very well too. Now we come to the lateral chain. Lateral chain is the link between the side of the body, right side and left side. So you have tensor fascia lata, you have oblique, you have the latissimus dorsi muscle until the neck muscle. All these muscles are work together on the side of the body. It's called lateral chains. That's why these are the exercise we can use it for prehabilitation. Okay, now you understand the function of the strength training. Now we go next slide. Next slide, we will talk about the type of the strength training, the type of the strengths. The strength we can classify into 4, but in my idea, we might have 5. And 5 is very important because the strength number 5 is event specific strength and belong to your sport and your movement pattern in that sport. First one, a maximal strength. What is maximal strength? Maximal strength is the greatest force produced by a single voluntary contraction. One contraction, and they can produce a maximum force, or we can call it 1 RM or 1 repetitions. 1 repetition maximum weight we can lift, or we can press, or we can pull, or we can push. Second one, speed strength. A speed strength ability of the muscle to produce high level force as fast as possible. Now, for the speed strength, we do speed strength because we want to have a power. When we have a power, the speed is one of the key elements to improve the power of the athlete for jumping, sprinting, throwing, spiking. Then we go to reactive strength. Reactive strength is normally we train it by using a plyometric training, or we can call that a state shortening cycle of the muscle. It means the muscle have to do eccentric first and then shortening by do the concentric contraction and combine it very fast. Concentric and eccentric combine very fast. It means plyometric movement or plyometric situation in the muscle, or we can call stretch very fast stretch shortening cycle, or we can call it reactive strength. Number 4 is a strength endurance. Many sport needs strength endurance. Marathon runner, 800, 1,005, 5,000. Even some game sport like a volleyball spiker, in one match or in one competition, some of them jump more than 200 jumps. That's why they need strength to support. They need a strength endurance to support the power of the jumps. Then maybe name a power endurance for the sport too. Last but not least, event specific. Strength endurance means capacity to maintain the quality of the muscle contractile force over the long period. Then, if you want to train strength endurance, it means you have to train less resistance but more repetition. Yeah? Last but not least, event-specific strengths. Ability to apply force in the specific movement pattern of each sport. This also very important for the sport training. And how to train this, we talk later. I want you to see this is a maximum strength training. This is a thrower. This is from our thrower. He's a hammer throwers. Next is the example of the speed strength training. This is the hang snatch. Pandu know this very well, huh? Mr. Pandu, because he from weightlifting association. This is hang snatch 120 kilogram. This is a maximum power training before maximum strength training. But this exercise is for maximum power training or maximum speed strength training. Third one will be the reactive strength. Is a plyometric in a plyometric form. He is not an athlete, but he is a tennis player. Number 4 will be a strength endurance example. You do uphill running. If you are 800 runners, you run 2 minutes, three repetitions. If you are longer distance, you run more. Maybe you run uphill running half an hour, 5K uphill running. This is for middle long distance. Next one will be the event-specific strength, also from a tennis player. This is we have 2 resistance, one from the elastic tube and another one is from the medicine ball. This is a rotational force application. Yeah, is the backhand movements of the athlete. Okay. Now we become to the classification of the strengths. The strength have 4 types. I will not mention about the strength number 5, event specific strength, but normally we talk about strength and classify strength in 4 types of strengths. First one, a maximum strength. Why we do a maximum strength? Because we want to increase or recruit. We want to recruit the neuron muscular. How much the neuron muscular work together in the same time in one movement in strength training. We want to increase the coordination of the muscle, intramuscular coordination and also intermuscular coordination in one muscle group or many muscle group work together. And also some of these sport, they need to increase the hypertrophy, like bodybuilding. Now we come to the speed strength. The speed strength, we have to increase the maximum strength first, and then increase the impulse frequency, and then get a better adaptation of the fiber type the fast twitch fiber can work better. It means we can do better explosive movement. Reactive strength, we have to do the energy store. Mostly the energy will store in the tendon, and mostly in the movement when we do the jumping, throwing, sprinting, the energy will store in the tendon of the muscle. Especially when you do the jumping exercise, sprinting exercise, the energy will store in the Achilles tendon. We want to do the reflex activation. We want to increase the ability of the reflex nerve, and the reflex nerve can work better. It means our muscle can reflect to the ground faster. And then last but not least, it's very important, a coordination. Oh, sorry. A coordination. This kind of strength, when we do a plyometric movement, make sure your athletes have very good coordination and very good uh, jumping technique before you start high level or high percentage of the reactive strength training. Last but not least, the strength endurance training. The strength endurance training we want to do to increase the capillary density. It means we have more small blood vessel in the muscle. It means we can get in the oxygen more in the muscle. Oxygen transfer into the muscle easier. The fiber type, when you do the strength endurance, the slow twist muscle will improve the endurance, and they can work long in the longer times. In maximal strength endurance also wants maximal strength, because when you are the maximal strength increase, the strength endurance of the muscle or muscular endurance also increase belong to the maximal strength. Now we talk about the pathway of the strength development. First one, if you want to do the maximal strength, you have to do two-way. First one, you increase adaptation of the muscle. At the adaptation of the muscle, you adapt at the hypertrophy of the muscle fiber, and the number of the muscle fiber is increased, and the fiber is getting bigger. It means the muscle get hypertrophy, mean the muscle getting bigger is also getting stronger. But this kind of training, we must be very careful, because this kind of training you gain weight, your athletes gain weight. Some athlete is too thin, then we have to train this kind of strength training to gain more muscle. In some sport, like a rugby, football, we want to increase the muscle of the wing, then the wing get more weight, and then they get more power when they do tackle. So next one, we increase the maximal strength by increase the neuromuscular adaptation. CNS, neuromuscular adaptation. When the neuromuscular adaptation, you gain more motor unit in the muscles, and when the motor unit work together more, you are getting big, you are getting stronger, your athlete getting stronger. But the good thing of this kind of strength training is no gain weight, stronger but no gain weight. It's very good for weight category sport, like a weightlifting of Mr. Pandu, a boxing who have weight category, judo, taekwondo. Then if you use a strength training and you do wrong strength training method, and your athlete gain weight, you have problem in weight category sport. So we improve the maximum strength of the athletes in the weight category sport. by using the CNS adaptation in strength training. This is type of recruitment. Yeah? If you do more than 80%, 90% here, you recruit all the muscle fiber type. If you do at 60, 70%, you recruit only 2 muscle fiber type. And if you do less, this is you use only slow twist muscle in the training. Then just summary. I cannot explain all and more detail because I have very time limit today. Yeah? How to do strength training correctly. When you do strength training, you have to be concerned so many things. Yeah? You have to be concerned so many things. How to do strength training correctly? First one, you have to know about the muscle contraction. What kind of the muscle contraction your athlete do during the strength training exercise? You have to think about the plane. Yeah? You have to think about the axis. You have to think about the fulcrums of the movement. You have to think about the angle of the joint or range of motion of the movement during your athlete do lifting. Direction of force with direction force application and your sport what your sport use movement and what direction of the force your athlete have to be used in the competition. And then do not forget train strength at the tendon is very important because you have to be cool and very slow adaptation at the tendon. If you do, sometimes you do too fast and then a muscle is strong very fast, but the tendon still weak. Then you don't forget do strength training and wait for tendon adaptation. In the strength training, you have to do pre-tensions. Have to do pre-tension, especially when you do the plyometric movement. And then you have to think about foot placement, hand placement, a grip, a narrow grip, wide grip or medium grip, and grip and supination or pronation or supination of the arm. This I will give example a little bit about how to apply plain knowledge in the strength training. A strength training, according to strength training, you must consider about plane and axis. See, this is axis, and this is axis, and this is the plane. And first plane is cut your body into the right and the left side. A second plane cut the body into in front and in the back. It means muscles are in the front side of the body and muscles are in the back side, anterior and posterior. This one left side and right side. And on another plane, upper body and lower body part is horizontal plane. I mentioned you this because I want you to be concerned about when you do strength training, make sure the muscle on the right and muscle on the left, the right leg and the left leg and the right arm and the left arm are trained equally. The upper body part and the lower body part are trained properly. And the muscle in front and the muscle in the back are trained properly. I can give you some example. If your hip flexor are weak and your hip extensor are very strong, it means your gluteus are very strong. The problem will be your athlete will have the tight of the hip flexor. Iliopsoas will get tight, cannot stretch. And what happened? The gluteus will be off. Gluteus cannot work properly. And then you have to use more hamstring. And then your athletes cause hamstring pull. Because the muscles are not trained properly in front and in the back. That is one example. Then agonist and antagonist must be balanced in your strength training program. Now, type of the muscle contraction. We have to think about the muscle contraction during your athlete train. when during your athlete train strength training or do the exercise. Yeah. We can train with the isometric strength training exercise. We can do concentric strength training exercise. We can do eccentric strength training exercise. And we also can do eccentric and concentric together. Yeah, like an isometric. And suddenly you jump, you do squat, isometric contraction, static squat, and then you do jump immediately. It means you do isometric, connect to fast concentric contraction. You do slow and eccentric and slow concentric. You sit down very slow and you stand up very slow. It means sit down is mean eccentric contraction, and you stand up is mean concentric contraction. You link it together. This is if you do weight training and your athlete will gain weight, like a training program of the bodybuilding. Yeah? You do plyometric. Plyometric it mean you do eccentric first and then combine with concentric immediately. Very fast movement, then become plyometric exercise. You can do slow eccentric and fast concentric. What you can do, you sit down very slow and you jump up very fast. It means you combine between slow eccentric and fast concentric contraction. Last but not least, you can do supra eccentric. It means you do only eccentric phase of your athlete training. But before you do this, you make sure your athletes must be very strong, because it's very high risk for the injury of the athlete, especially the low back, because the percentage is minimum 120% of 1 RM of squat if you do squat supra eccentric exercise. Now we come to the load used in an exercise affect the type of adaptation, which is stimulation or stimulus. If you want to do maximum strength recruitment, less repetition, more resistance. This is less repetition. Repetition mean not more than 6 repetition. Mostly, if I want to do the maximum strength training, I do 3 to 4 repetition at 90%. Yeah? At 90%. We do 90% at 3 times. Maybe you do 40% at 87 times. At 87%. Yeah? At 87%. Or if you want to do a speed strength training, maybe you use 3 to 6 times, but you lift very fast as you can at very high weight. Then you gain a speed strength power. Or you want to gain the hypertrophy, you do 7 to 12 repetition with the 70 to maximum 80%, 70 to 80%. And you do slow eccentric, slow concentric contraction. Then your athlete gain maximum strength, but gain maximum strength at hypertrophy, or you gain the muscle is getting bigger. Here at same repetition, but you do very fast. You do very fast at maybe at 10 RM, and you do it's very fast, like you do speed squat at 60% 10 times. The athlete will gain speed strength or power or explosive movement. If you do more and more repetition, it lead your athlete to get more and more strength endurance or more and more muscular endurance. And then if you want to do the strength training programs, you have to choose the programs. When you want to choose the programs, you have to start in the general preparation period. You have to start with the general exercise, non-specific exercise. And close to competition or in the specific preparation period, your choice is the exercise closely to movement pattern of your athletes. It become event specific strength training exercise. It means in the training, you have to mix between your general strength training exercise and also event specific strength training exercise. This one is also important in your strength development program or strength development planning. You must put the exercise in order. In order. Which one first? The exercise require high skill should be done first. Very high skill, it means you use so many movement in the same time. You have to use to do this exercise first. Second one, exercise who require the high balance, like you do the single leg squat, and you want to do the squat. It means you have to do a single leg squat first, and after that you can do normal squat. Compound exercise should be done before isolate. Many muscle group exercise should be done before one muscle group exercise. Big muscle group before small muscle group. You have to do bench press before you do fly. Bench press is big muscle group, many muscle group, and fly is getting smaller. So you have to do a big muscle group before small muscle group in the strength training. The order of the exercise should be chosen to use different muscle group alternately, like a leg first and then arm if possible. Last but not least, core muscle group, abdominal low back, do later. Because if you do a core muscle group first and the core muscle group are weak or fatigue, it's very difficult to do a power clean. Because in the power clean, you have to use the core muscle group muscle in the power clean movement. Now we come to the doses of the strength training exercise. If the high dose, low ref, moderate, you get the maximum strength 85%, 75% to 85% of 1 RM, 5 to 10 repetition, moderate and too slow. You gain a maximum strength hypertrophy. Here, 30 to 50%, and you do explosive movement, very high speed lifting, then you gain power. If you do 75% very fast, you gain maximum power. Or you can do, maybe you can use 80% and 85% too. And you lift very fast, also you get maximum power. 40 to 60% muscular endurance with the 30 to 20 to 30 repetition, and 25 to 40% of maximum moderate to fast, you gain muscular endurance. Or if you do faster, maybe you gain power endurance training. This one, I want you to learn that don't do only strength training. You must do strength training with very good coordination. This I will give you example. And this PowerPoint with Paria, I think Paria can send this PowerPoint to all of you. Perform skill opposite limb. Use variety of the starting position. It means you challenge the neuron muscular of your athlete. And when the neuron muscular is challenged, adaptation of the coordination is brain capacity. So you can do so many things, and you can change load, low load, high load, low load. You can change speed, high speed, low speed. You can change, you increase the resistance, high resistance, low resistance, and different condition. Then you at least will gain more coordination in the muscle, and that you can apply and can use to be the link to the strength training, and your athletes will be good and better than you do only strength training. This one, a strength training. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Oh, no problem. ไม่เป็นไร Okay. This one is how to do strength training. Strength training must be systematic, from the younger to older, younger to older, and from the preparation period to a specific and competition period. What mean we start general strength training, and then at the end we do a specialized, or we do a event specific, more and more event specific training. And we want to build up the basic shape of the athlete, and then we can do the top shape of the athlete. Now is the example of the exercise. Example of the exercise. This is core body exercise. You can do variety core body exercise. You can do dumbbell, you can do barbell, you can do body weight, you can use the gym ball, you can use the medicine ball for the core body exercise. Why I do core body first? Because if you want to do heavy lifting, make sure core body of your athletes are strong first. Leg exercise, leg exercise. You do muscle in front and back. You do the muscle on the right side and on the left side of the body. You do the muscle inside leg and outside leg. This is inside leg, and you do step up. So many variety of the exercise you can use. This is the chest exercise. You do with the dumbbell, barbell. You do with the unbalanced ball, gym ball. You do flat bend, incline bend. You can do decline bends. It depends on the location of the muscle you want to train. Plyometric exercise. Make sure stretch shortening cycle in the muscle. Very fast stretch shortening cycle. Normally in the plyometric exercise, we can divide into three level: basic plyometric, intermediate plyometric, and advanced plyometric. Here may be basic plyometric. Here may be intermediate plyometric, and here can be advanced plyometric strength training exercise. Here more advanced because of more resistance, extra load when you do drop jumps. It's more advanced. Hopefully, in my training, I do what my athlete need to do, and I will try to do it correctly as much as I can. At the end will be the example of the exercise. This is core strength training exercise. He is shot putter. That shot putter. This is tennis players. Forehand and backhand by the medicine ball. This also exercise for the tennis player. I try to increase the ability to move on the right and left side. Yeah. Slight movement. This is that why I increase the leg. Especially I try to increase the muscle on the left and right side of the body, and then we combine with the jumping exercise. This in the form of combined training, or we can say complex training.
Janika, you have 5 steps.
Yes, I know. Okay. Thank you. You're warning me. And this is some jumping plyometric exercise combined with the movement in the court. And this also one of resistance training. I use the elastics training exercise. This boy very fast feet. This also changing direction from the left to the right side. This a specific movement, and this equipment I design myself. Is very good equipment. This is 15 kilograms, and this is some example exercise for the table tennis player for the power training. And combine with the jump from the right to the left side. This is try to do the lateral chain training. Okay. And this just give 2-3 minutes. This is a gift for all of you. I get this from my friend, Mr. Khalid from Mannheim, Germany. They do so many things: strength training, conditioning, power, speed, and then agility training. Connection. You can see. I want you to see. Just 1 minute. This is thrower. That's why they throw more than 20 meters. Because the feet are very fast and the rhythm of the throwing are very fast too. This we use to increase the rhythmic of the thrower. Oh, sorry. Moment. I need a moment. They do even more over speed. Cursor. I want you to see how they explore and jumping, changing direction, and very high explosive. Have a look. Have a look. Jump up and down. Jump up is concentric contraction. Jump down is eccentric contraction. Okay, Paria. This is my presentation for this morning. Hopefully you gain something, some understanding. Sorry, I have very short time because normally strength training is a big story. I have to summary to shorten, and hopefully you understand what I mean. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all of you. Thank you very much, Mr. Ria. And sorry, I have to leave room right now because my cousin, one of my cousins, is passed away. I have to go home.
Really?
Yeah, but she already 97.
Condolence for your family.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ajahn Eka. But actually, many questions for you, but maybe later when you're able to come back again.
Yeah, okay. You can maybe you can ask 1 or 2 questions right now.
Okay, I will share the question, the first question.
Or maybe I can answer the question in the chat room.
Okay. Yeah, you can read in the chat room and you can check and you can answer the question because the question is in the chat room. Okay.
Yeah, then you can gain more knowledge with other lecturers.
Okay, sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gunika.
Yep.
Deep condolence for your family.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Ajahn Ekawit for talking about the strength. It's very interesting topic, but unfortunately, Mr. Ekawit have to leave the room because of some unpredictable situation. So now I invite Mr. Fahmi Farezi from Indonesia. I want to talk about the combat sport, strength for combat sport. Mr. Fahmi is here.
Hello, good morning. Mr. Ria, good morning.
Good morning, Fahmi.
Very thank you about invite me in this seminar. First experience for me, but very exciting. Say hi to Mr. Ekawit because many times I meet him in the track and field, Thailand. Mr. Pandu and Mr. Ria, my mentor, our audience in Indonesia and another country, and Mr. Devi Tirta, my friend. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
In my time now, I want to talk about combat because my background is from Taekwondo. A long time ago, I training. Now I'm start 1976. Now I'm old man, cannot kicking again. So I work with my student about the Taekwondo and many experience because the students always different culture, different talent, this is very interesting for me. Join together with them. So I try to introduce about the martial arts. Martial arts is arts because many challenge athletes they are taking technique in the ring. Sometimes they have a blood in the face. It's very interesting. Boys, girls, old men, young men, they're very happy about the competition about martial arts. I don't know why. Yeah, because dangerous. Self-defense is a sport ability to defend oneself and carry out strategy to win battles with our tools. Yeah, they have a strategy attacking and the counter. This is very important because the athlete have a character, basic character. As athlete with the counter character, very difficult for attacking style. But we are the coach must be try to the athletes learn about the other strategy, because the elite athlete, they have all strategy for win. They must be have a strength and other physically condition. Thank you, Mr. Rekawit. As the first lecture, he talked many things about the theory about the strength. And one of the athlete of self-defense, they must have a good performance physically, coordination, flexibility, balance, strength, power, and all. They must be perfect, because in the high level competition, all the competitors come with the perfect condition. The winner is athlete with the good performance as the competition. So, Mr. Ria, no PowerPoint, is it?
Wait, I'm still looking for your PowerPoint.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I was thinking you shared yourself.
Okay. Many athletes they have good power, but they don't have flexibility or balance. This is a problem, because many technique they needed the balance and flexibility, like the front technique kicking. It is easy for the athlete, but the turn technique kicking is problem, big problem. Starting, rotation, and impact kicking and landing. This is the one for parts and one situation. They must be have that, because if he no have a balance, he turn, and the problem is himself cannot balance and drop. So in the beginning, the athlete must be training all like coordination. It's nice coordination, not only ladder. Coordination is many movement, different direction, different situation. They try to keep it that. Okay, and next, after they have many skills, they try to application with the situation. The situation is rival or partner or target. This is the situation. How come improve the situation? Okay. Self-defense, many like Taekwondo, Judo, Aikido, Kempo, Pencak Silat, kabaddi maybe. In India, kabaddi.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But the technique is same. Like they have a punching, they have a kicking, grabbing, many technique, but the same, but different only the tradition, So, but the old technique, they needed good physically, like coordination, like flexibility, balance, strength, and endurance for the muscle and the joint. So they start from the training for athlete, focus little to student. Training focus not only the fighting and winning, but the preparation physically, basic physically, like coordination, flexibility, balance, strength, and endurance. Okay. The next. Oh, 5 aspects to success. Five aspects to success. Next, 5 aspects to success. Yep. Coaches and athletes must be talk about the target. We have a plan to champion, like local champion, national champion, or international champion. But the problem is the talent. If the talent have a good, excellent talents, they have or he have a challenge to the world championship or the Olympic. So the preparation first is physically. We know 10 physically aspect like endurance, strength, speed, reaction, others to accuracy, to power, and 10. And the technique like we can champion if you have only 1 or 2 technique, but you must have more than 5 technique: checking, kicking, punching, and everything. But the 5 technique must be perfect, like perfect technique, perfect speed, and perfect accuracy, like this. So the next tactical meaning like attack technique, counter attack, and the situation, like the rules. We know the rules, and we know the rival player and condition and the situation area in the area. So number four from the 5 aspect success is mental. Mental is very important in the competition, but mental they must be starting from the training first. Not suddenly you have a problem mental in the competition. Problem come from the training, like motivation. What do you want? What do you target? Concentration. Like sometimes athletes cannot concentration. Like they have a dynamic body, dynamic thinking, but difficult for concentration. Coach must be try make him confident with the concentration, like with the music, sleeping, and anything, many activity with concentration training. The next, stress management. Yeah, we know the athlete good in the training, but the problem in the competition. Stress management is to try the athlete managing himself with the situation. Like he know tomorrow the competition. He know the rival is good, defending champion. He know and everything. This is the stress management. Yeah. With the athlete problem with the stress, coaches give him low stress competition, low stress rifle. Don't give him, yes, that's right, yeah, thank you. Give him a low stress competition and low stress athlete. Why that? Because the athlete comfort, he can enjoy and he can win this competition. And the next competition, the medium stress, and the next competition, high stress level. Yeah, because stress make your bodies drop, Preparation good, strength good, everything good, but in the stress, this all drop. Nothing, zero. Yep. One of thing, self-confident. Self-confident come because the athlete know good preparation, good technique, good tactical, good tryout, good stress management, and the end, he have a good confidence. And others like problem like traveling to arena competition is very long time, traffic, stress coming, too late, breakfast problem, weight, they have weight category. So in the morning, they come to competition area and check the weight and problem because overweight or underweight and many things problem. So the coach must be control the situation. Yeah, number one, control the athlete because the athlete have a many character. Coach control the athlete and that's good situation because the situation supporting to success planning. Next slide, Maria. Yep. I told you 5 basically physical element. Don't boring about the training coordination, please. You athlete, experienced athlete must be training coordination because the coordination always make your body ready for training. Coordination in Indonesia, very popular ladder. Yeah, because ladder is challenge training, but the creative coach have created another training, not only the ladder. Yeah. Strength training, endurance, flexibility, balance. This is the basically element, 5 basically element for athlete. And the next, optimization, your physical condition, reaction, speed, power, agility, and accuracy. 5, the next training, this is very important for the competition. The basic training, very important for training, not for competition, but this 5 is very important for competition. So after the 5 basic element, you have a good condition, so you can training a physical condition like speed and everything. Okay. Build body muscle, increase ability skills. Number 1, strength and power. Yeah, increase your ability and your skill. Knockout skill, because in the combat, knockout is very good for your lucky. If you're kicking or you're punching, knockout, the competition is finished. But one point, the all athlete, the all coach watching your competition, they have a warning body. Wow, this athlete have a knockout technique. It's very dangerous. So you have a one point. They very scared about you. Number 3, attack and defense strategy. I told you before. Yeah, attack and defense. This is very good for your situation in the area, because Many athletes have a characters different, always different. So you can input your strategy very accurate. And number 4, progressive and optimal training. Yeah, we know principle the training is progressive, slow, medium, and high intensity. And optimization use training. Yeah, set or repetition and loading and all. And the next, avoid risk of injury, because the rival number 1 for athlete is injury. Injury number 2 is boring. Number 3 is competition. So if you injury, your training is stopped, you only go to rehabilitation. So be careful about your injury. Number 5, build your quality muscle. Quality muscle, I mean like not big muscle, but quality, your power, yeah, your speed. Because the big power is not recommended for you good athlete, no. Big muscle is sometimes a problem, yeah, because too slow, too much hypertrophy. Next slide. Be careful about your volume training. Yeah, volume training. I mean like set or too much sets with the high intensity is big problem. Big problem. Athlete is very tired. Sometimes athlete no progressive. Yeah, he only have program, finish and sleep, but the improve is not. Number 2, build your muscles where they should be. If you want the punching good, you must be training bicep, shoulder, tricep, and all the preparation punching. If you want the good kicking, your hamstring, your quadricep, and others. Include your core body. Yeah, your core body. I still saw in the TV MMA or UFC fighters have no good body, no core, many fat. So I mean, this is no good situation. The next, always control the idle body weight in your class. If you in the class bantam weight, you know the weight. Don't if you not control, your weight is sometimes over or under. Yeah, this is a problem because if you training more extra for your weight body, so your energy is must be joined with the program that needed time. You don't lose your body 1 hour before check weight. No. Yeah, your body inside the check weight 5 or 1 weeks before the competition. This is your comfort, your muscle comfort, your body comfort. You only focus the competition. The next slide. Yep, this is the benefit of strength training. 5 benefits. Number 1, building muscle. Number 2, burning fat. We know in the gym, now the combat training or aerobic training, the focus not competition, but the focus only burning fat. Yeah, because the strength training can do that. Number 3, get stronger. Get stronger. Sometimes old men like me have the body is getting down, and I must be training strength training because my job, like a coach, like a teacher, I need healthy. I need strength for standing in the class. So strength training is good because to get stronger my body. The next, reduce the stress. Yeah, getting lower the stress of COVID-19 make everybody stress. So in the room, you can training, include strength training, reduce the stress with the music perfectly. Number 5, confidence, because finishing the strength training, you feel like I'm okay, I'm strong now. You have a confidence. The next, this is the strength training fase. Maybe it is same with Mr. Ekawit. Adaptation training, hypertrophy, maximum training, and getting power. I saw many coaches have a program power, but he not preparation from the beginning. I mean like adaptation, yeah, or maximum strength. But the program, start the general preparation. First is power, jumping. We know this is not true, because the next program, the next situation, the athlete have an injury. Jumping is favorite training for all coach. Single leg jump, double leg jump, and like this. But the athlete's condition not ready for the hard training. Dangerous. Don't forget the adaptation training. Be patient. Sure, your training is good and safe for athlete. And the next hypertrophy, the next maximum strength, and you're ready for power training. Thank you. Okay, principle of strength training, always progressive, more up, yeah. And special fase, organizing your program, done your training after the upper body, the next program upper body, and next upper body is not organized. You must be changed upper body and next lower body and the next core and upper body again. Yeah, always change the part of training. It's good organizing. And the last, overload. Why overload? We want to know the condition athlete. If you not give overload training, yeah, the athlete's condition is always same. Always same. When you give the overload training, 1 week or 2 weeks, one time, if he overload training and we know he's confident, very good condition. Okay. Next slide about the principle. Still the principle. Next slide, Maria. Maaf. Easy to difficult movement. Yeah. Sometimes we saw the YouTube. Well, this is nice movement, but it's no good for my athlete. Not all the YouTube is good for my athlete. Yeah, because the condition is different. Yeah. I remember one coach give one athlete jumping 1 leg power for 10 hurdles. 10 hurdles. The problem is jumping 3 hurdles and getting down, stop. The ankle is problem. Athlete injury, go to the therapist room for 3 months. For 3 months. I asked him, why you give 1 leg jumping power? Yeah, I saw the YouTube. Not only YouTube is good for you. Yeah, easy to difficult movement. Arrange the program. Number 2, light to heavy loading. Loading, like I mean weight or set or repetition. Light to heavy. Light to heavy. Number 3, the program is good variation, but give him simple, easy to complicated program. Simple and to complicate. The next, without up to a lot exercise. I mean about the equipment. The problem in Jakarta, many coaches have many equipment, but another place they don't have equipment. So we know about the equipment, but coach must be created the program with the natural. I only have this, okay. but I have many programs. The last, reduce the risk of injury. Is same with the another before. Okay, the next are the 4 training models. Number 1, on body weight. On body weight, I mean my body. I mainly training with my body, but only body, no dumbbell, no and everything. And number 2, with the simple equipment like rubber. Rubber is very popular now. Bow shoe, Swiss ball, and another. Number 3, normally like we go to the gym with the weight training machine. Yeah. And number 4, 5 years ago is very popular, electric muscle stimulation. Yeah. Athletes with the cable in the body, and they training with the electronic. Okay, next slide. Don't forget the planning of upper and lower exercise. Core training is for a form of a strength training that also training coordination, flexibility, and balance. We know about the training Swiss ball in the hand, focus only the hand, but in the core training, your focus is your whole body, core and leg too, all, front and the back, left and the side, sorry, left and the right. Yeah. Core weight training, like bicep training, only training about the muscle bicep. But the core training, one model core training is training for all body. Is very lucky. But different situation, weight training is good for you building muscle, but the core training good control your body. Okay. Okay, next slide. Three principles for me, maybe same with the old coach. Yeah, variation. This is point for athlete, because athlete easy to boring. Number 2 is combination. This is I mean like difficult for training model. Number 3 is creativity. If a coach a good creativity, athletes every day happy, athlete every day good spirit. This is nice for training to success. Okay, the next is video about leg strength training with the my model is the taekwondo, but same with the others martial art athletes. Please.
Sorry, Pak Fahmi, I can open the video. I can open. Sorry. Because this one is in PDF.
Okay. Wow, sorry. Very sorry. Okay.
You can come to the complex.
Last night I make up the video, and the training easy to simple, without equipment, with the equipment like rubber and Swiss ball, and the next it with the machine. 3 variation, leg training with the on body weight, small equipment, and the big equipment, same like arms training. Okay, the next is complex strength training. In the picture,
thanks to you, Mr.
In the picture, this is the difficult
minta dinyalakan
Mike, please.
Pak Fahmi. Yeah.
Mike, please.
Mic-nya Mas Fahmi. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. The arms concentrate only for a dynamic movement, strength movement. But But the leg, only static training. Only static training on one leg and one leg. You can see that must be control, good control. The situation not like this suddenly. So the first, remember the first training is easy program, simple to difficult. Easy like two legs on the ball. So arms try to standing like this static, and the next try to moving, dynamic moving, and the next we try to one leg. It's very difficult. I call the name complex strength training. Okay, the next slide.
Wait.
I hope okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Or before training. Many coach thinking this is the strength training. Strength training. Core is strength training. Don't you give a strength training before? Sorry, after warming up, before the point center training. No problem. No problem. 2 or 3 set core strength training is very good preparation or condition for your muscle. If okay, your athlete can training with the full energy, full expression. Don't worry, this is not good, not strength training, but only adaptation or preparation for your muscle. Give him 2 or 3 set core strength training before your training in the middle, or your training technique or training tactical. Don't worry. And the next, strength after training. Yang slide Pak Dia ya, maaf.
Yeah.
Okay. Before. Okay. Training after strength after training is good for you keep it your muscle, make fresh your muscle. Yeah. Give him a training after the him strength training after the training. So this is very good for your athlete. This is different with the training session for weight training is different. In the technical or tactical session, the core training is good for you refresh your muscle. But another day you have one session special weight training. You go to the gym. It's different. It's different. Masih ada waktu ya Pak ya? Pak ya ngecek
5 menit. 5 minutes.
Okay. Strength training before competition. Yeah. Many coaches worried give strength training for athlete before competition. They worried that the technique is problem, or the energy is loose, or everything. Don't worry. Yeah. Still give him strength training before competition, especially in tapering situation. Yeah, trapping passer, no problem. But set and repetition and load, you must be control. Don't too much, don't too high, and everything. Okay, the next slide. This is out from the context, but remember a recovery after training. Yeah, stretching and everything. Yeah, you know, I know you coach very experienced. This is my number and my contact. The last of slide. Thank you very much, and I hope you understand because my English sometimes problem, but I'm happy with you all. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you very much, Sabam Fahmi. It was a very good presentation, and I think it's very clear for the combative sport for us. And you can check the chart, Fahmi, about the question. Maybe now you can check. Maybe later you can answer after Mr. Pandu beyond the presentation. And now we invite Mr. Afenas Pandu to give the presentation, and the room is for you. Mr. Pandu.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Where are
I'm
you?
just quickly pulling up the slides. All right, good morning, everyone, again. And what we're going to discuss this morning after two brilliant presentation. Can you all hear me? Everything is okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, after two brilliant presenters, first we saw Mr. Ekawit speaking about adaptations of the muscles, followed by Pafani from Combat Sport. He's speaking about the different elements of strength training. From my side, I'm going to discuss about the key performance areas for making champions in strength sports. Okay, I'm Avinash Pandu, currently the high performance coach of Jawa Timur weightlifting. And I was a former weightlifter. So as you can see here in the picture on the right-hand side, so I was a weightlifter, and believe it or not, I am originally from the small island of Mauritius, which is a very beautiful exotic island. And I pursued my career in coaching in South Africa after finishing my athletic career as a weightlifter. And in 2016, I end up in Indonesia taking the high performance coach of Indonesia for the Olympic Games of Rio 2016. And from there, we went on to have 2 silver medals, which was the first time for Indonesia weightlifting. And also currently now, as I just mentioned, I'm the coaching position, high performance coach for Jawa Timur, and also doing a few programs together with my very good friend Paria with the Department of Sports here in Indonesia. So that's a little bit about me. And now we're going to go on more about our presentations today. Medals in weightlifting or sport. I would like to point out to you, my fellow coaches, my fellow enthusiasts in conditioning, that it is impossible to win any medals in weightlifting or sport without excellent genetics, proper coaching, or I would even put it here, adequate coaching, effective coaching, nutrition strategy based on to my third point, because without a good nutrition strategies, definitely you will not be able to make it as well. So a car without fuel is going nowhere. The role of sports science in achieving success in current sports is really of a keynote importance, and we need to take note of that. Medical support, something which I've seen very, very little here in Indonesia with regards to high performance sports, maybe something we have to look into and tap into, because the medical support is also very, very important, as I've seen, for example, leading countries such as the US or China. And another point also important is the right environment. Coaches, without having a right environment for training, such as your training facilities, your food, your family, your social network, it is very, very difficult to achieve very high level in sports. Now, other issues which I considered of secondary importance, because if we have the key points that I've mentioned, the 6 key points on top, the other areas becomes followed. So which are the clubs, the competitions, athletes education, selections, research, and so on. So if we have, for example, proper coaching, good nutrition strategies, obviously your athletes will have a better competitions and also making good success. Now, my success with the Indonesian team was not only a success contribute maybe by one person, which is me. No, unfortunately, it's not. It was definitely a team that was behind the whole success of Indonesia. From my left-hand side to here, we have Dilja Wihaja, who is now the current head coach with Indonesia. Alamsha Wijaya, who was our team manager, and taking the team from A to Z, making sure that the team is fully ready, making sure that the team having the right food, making sure that the team has the proper psychology, medical support, and everything. And also what was important was linking with me as a high performance coach, making sure that every single aspect that we need is seen to. In the middle here, we have Supeni, who was in charge with the women's team. And there is me here, the beautiful guy smiling. And also on my left-hand side is Paminan, also one of the assistant coach as well with the team to the Rio Olympic Games, where we saw 2 silver medals. So these were basically the team behind the success of 2016 Olympics. Okay. Now the mandate. What was that mandate that we had that I'm going to take you through now, leading up to how we developed that? It was first of all an environment for success. We have to have a strong belief culture that it has to come first, that strong belief culture, before we could realize any performance. So if we had a strong belief culture, will follow. The daily training environment, how we plan our periodization, how we plan the food, how we plan the training. This was key importance as well. Now, questions as a high performance coach. Often as a high performance coach, it's not just simple to just plan everything and everything goes according to the plan. Often it got changed. Often there are loopholes, there are areas that we need to change and so on like this. So what we had to look at is the quality of talent that we had within that team of Indonesia. The quality of coach that I have with me working as a high performance coach. Are my coaches to the level that they can deliver what I need or what I'm expected from them? Now, time, quality time. Do we have enough time? I joined the team in February 2016. The Olympics was coming up July, August. So what was the time available to me and to my team to deliver the result that we need? What was the quality program that we have to put in place in order to achieve that environment for success? So these were key areas that we need. And the last one was, obviously, what medals we were looking for. And I want to share here with the coaches, and it was something also that I made mention on Kompas, on one of our leading newspaper in Indonesia, which was the Kompas newspaper. From day one, I've made the mention that our team is a team for success. We cannot go to competition and just say, we're going to just go and compete. So it was not at all a matter of going out to compete. It was going out full guns, and our target was medals. So that was the key thing that we were really looking for in order to make that environment for success. Okay. Now, the quality coaching. When we looked at the quality coaching, here it was key important. Quality coaching means one thing: delivery of results. So when we talk about delivery of results, we have to talk about improvement in athletes' ability to perform with reliability and deliver the performance at the right given time. So these were the key things that I put into place. Okay, and if we do this, definitely we will have a happy athlete. And down here we have Eko Yuli Hirawan. I'm sure we have many coaches from Indonesia. You will reckon with me that Eko Yuli Hirawan is really an icon of Indonesian sports, having won the Olympic Games 3 occasions, 2 bronze medals in 2008, 2012, and in 2016 he made a new higher level to win a silver medal. So definitely it was based on improvements of athletes' ability, perform better at the right given time. So quality coaching, as I mentioned, equals to better performance. So in performance terms at our level, it was quality coaching, better performance, more medals. And what did we see? The team were winning better, they were doing better, there were no injuries. And how we did that was better coaching. Why do we talk about better coaching? When we looked into the newspaper, what do we see? Everybody is demanding results. The federations, the athlete, the sport boards, the country is demanding more medals. If you have more medals, obviously your budget is better. The press has a better follow for you. And obviously the people is following you better. And our Olympic Committee also has a very good prestige if the country is winning medals on an international level. And if the country is winning medals at an international level, the government is also seen as a very noted government, meaning that they are delivering the results. And finally, the public. The public is the one who makes and crush. So the public is the biggest critics out there. If we give them the medals, they are very happy, they keep going, they are following us, they are having big demands and having a very good follow-up. So that's why we have to put quality coaching and better performance. Now, coaches, I want to bring to you here this very nice slide. Paria knows it very well. I often brings it up to with the sports ministry. It's basically a slide by Albert Einstein, which talks about insanity. So coaches, I need to bring you out now very quickly out of that comfort zone. That comfort zone of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. It's not going to happen. If we are duplicating our periodization from year 1 to year 2, just changing dates. If we are duplicating our training plans from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, it's not going to happen. The world is changing. Sports is evolving. Coaching is improving. We need to change our concept. We need to change our system, how we view coaching. In sports, if we stood still, we will fall behind. So therefore, coaches, strength and conditioning coaches, enthusiasts of sport, I urge you to change your views on how you see the development of sports, how you're going to make high performance. Here, talking to you as a high performance coach, we're working with high performance athletes, not only in weightlifting, but I will bring you up a little bit later with some of my success as well within other sports. It was not possible if I just keep up with what I have learned. I have to implement new things. I have to strategize. I have to try new concept and see if it works. Obviously, there were many failures, but so we learn through our failures, and that's how we're able to move forward. So insanity, coaches, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We need to change, move forward, look for new things to develop into your sports and how you're going to develop it. Now, when we looked at the weightlifting, I'm going to talk to you now here about the weightlifting, because we can see today that modern sports, a lot of the sports are drawing their strength development within the Olympic lifting, within the Olympic lifts. But within the Olympic lifts, there are various areas we need to understand so that we don't make problems within the athlete's practice. So the delivery of the practice is the understandability of how the movement is performed correctly, which is the technique behind the movement. In athletics, for example, or in martial arts, or in other sports such as tennis, rugby, and so on, we are utilizing the snatches, the power snatch, and so on like this. But often what I'm seeing as a high performance coach is the athlete's inability to deliver the technique correctly and thus gaining the necessary benefits from the exercise. It means, oh, the snatch is done from the floor, bringing the bar above the head. Okay, the athlete just pulling the bar above the head and not really delivering the static contraction, the inertia, the first laws of motion, the phase of the power phase, the reception, the catch, and so on. So what's we having? We're having the athlete doing the movements, but the benefits zero. So we need to review that. We need to be able to understand what are the key concepts that are involved in terms of the technique behind the snatch, behind the clean, or behind the jerk, for example, the movement of throws, such as discus, shot put, hammer throws, and so on. They're doing a lot of power cleans and the jerks and so on. So we need to be able to understand in terms of what are each phases into here. Okay. For example, first, second to third pictures here, just the first pull. We're looking at here a very power movement, first law of motion, applying force to the ground. These are very important. For example, if we're going to look here as a sprinter taking up a starting, we're looking at a swimmer on the starting blocks. So these are the key concepts, key areas we need to develop. Okay. Same with the clean as well. We have a lot of explosive power movements, full body extension, the triple extension involved in discus, hammer, throws, shot puts, combat sports, and so on like this, taekwondo, judos, karates. So these are areas we need to develop. But if we are not doing it correctly, we will not be gaining the necessary benefits out of these movements. So coaches, start engaging correctly. That's why I've given you the slides with the correct understanding behind it so that you can execute these areas correctly. And here with all our throws movements is the execution of the jerks, okay? The pole vaults, the discus, the hammer, the shot put, the also even judo and so on, okay? Boxing. So we're involving a lot of legs, arms movements. And here, very important to understand the dynamics behind the technique when we are implementing it. So from a coaching, weightlifting coaching point of view, how I took these movements and start implementing it into other sports, I found that it's really helping and benefiting their sports. One, in terms of strength development. Second, in terms of power development. And from there on, I can go on and start developing other areas, which I will explain to later on, how I get to these development and success. Now, I'm going to bring you up quickly here to Sri Wayuni, 48 kilogram class weightlifter. Very tiny girls, 1.5 height, 48 kilogram, 47 point something at the Olympics. How much power is generated in a split seconds? So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow coaches, I invite you to watch this video together with me and look at the power that is driven here in that athlete.
Augustiani, the first time we've seen it, 85 kilos in the snatch, this at 107, this to put her in silver.
107 kilograms. More than double body weights.
This for a total of 192. Has she got it?
Well, shake of the head as if to say I made that harder than I needed to. But she's there now. She's put herself right back in contention.
And Yelisieva sees her.
Here already in the first attempt, already securing her silver medals. So we were out there with big guns. We wanted the gold.
Really good overhead.
Okay, so you can see here again the amount of power being generated into this little athlete. The next one I'm going to bring you up is Eko Yulihirawan. One of, as I mentioned earlier on, an icon of Indonesian sports, an icon within the Southeast Asia, very brilliant athlete. Eko Yulihirawan at the Olympics in the 62 kilogram class, which has now changed to the 61 kilogram category. So please have a look at this athlete and the amount of power being generated.
Kita mulai dari Olimpiade Rio 2016. Indonesia mendapatkan satu lagi tambahan medali dari cabang angkat besi di hari ketiga Olimpiade Rio 2016. Lifter putra Eko Yuli Irawan meraih medali perak di kelas 62 kg usai mencatatkan total angkatan sebanyak 312 kg.
Indonesia menurunkan dua lifter putra di final kelas 62 kg, Eko Yuli Irawan dan Muhammad Hasbi. Hasbi mencatat angkatan snatch 134 kg pada angkatan kedua. Sementara di clean and jerk, Hasbi mampu mengangkat beban 160 kg, tapi gagal di dua angkatan berikutnya seberat 169 dan 173 kg.
This is an important point to note. Energy system.
Berhasil melakukan satu kali angkatan snatch seberat 142 kg. Namun, Eko Yuli gagal
Hanggang yang terjaga atas maraming yang meninggal.
peluangnya lagi di clean and jerk. Lifter kelahiran Lampung itu pun mengangkat beban seberat 170 kg di angkatan pertama. Eko Yuli bersaing ketat dengan lifter Kolombia Oscar Figueroa. Eko Yuli gagal di angkatan kedua dan ketiga clean and jerk pada beban 176 dan 179 kg. Total angkatan 312 kg yang dicatat Eko Yuli mengantarnya meraih medali perak di Olimpiade Rio 2016. Emas disabet Figueroa, sementara perunggu diraih lifter Kazakhstan Farhad Karki.
Eko Yuli Irawan mencetak hat-trick medali di 3 Olimpiade beruntun. Di Olimpiade Rio 2016, lifter kelahiran Lampung tersebut bahkan menyabet perak setelah di 2 Olimpiade sebelumnya hanya membawa pulang medali perunggu.
Eko Yuli Irawan kembali menjadi andalan Indonesia dalam merebut medali di Olimpiade Rio 2016. Atlet angkat besi itu pun untuk ketiga kalinya tampil di Olimpiade. Turun di kelas 62 kg putra, Eko Yuli berhasil memperbaiki prestasinya dari Olimpiade London 2012 lalu. Lifter kelahiran Lampung 24 di 19 kg puspin itu pun meraih perak dengan total angkatan 312 kg yang terdiri dari 142 kg angkatan snatch dan 170 kg angkatan clean and jerk. Kiprah Eko Yuli di Olimpiade pertama kali tampil di Beijing 2008 dengan meraih perunggu di kelas 56 kg putra. 4 tahun berselang di London, Eko Yuli naik ke kelas 62 kg putra dan berhasil naik podium dengan bulan. Sementara di level Asia Tenggara, lifter 27 tahun ini merupakan langganan menyabet medali emas mulai dari SEA Games 2007, 2009, 2011, dan 2013.
Dengan tambahan 1 medali perak, Indonesia kini mengemas total 2 medali perak di kelas sementara perolehan medali Olimpiade Rio 2016 dan berada di posisi 2.
All right. So now, having brought to you now these two success within the team, I want to bring you up now to a bit some of the achievement and best key practice, so that as coaches you can understand now how to work with your different athletes in different areas of the utilizing the Olympic lifts to get the success. So here, my success within the sports is with tennis, fencing, mixed martial arts at the CrossFit Games, volleyball, athletics, swimming, also with rugby, to just name a few. So these are some of the sport that I have contributed with regards to the improvement of athlete ability in delivering performance, utilizing, the benefits of Olympic lifting and how we can adapt and share the concept of Olympic lifting to make this achievement. The next one I will bring you up now is, this was one of my athletes I worked with in South Africa over a period of 2 years, Tyron Pillay, Rio Paralympic bronze medalist. Now, I want to remind you coaches now here that already by then I was in Indonesia, taking the position as high performance coach with the Indonesian weightlifting team. But that did not stop me to carry on assisting this athlete from South Africa in terms of his daily training, monitoring, technical analysis, and so on, in terms of his Paralympic preparation. So this is Tyron Pillay. Tyron Pillay is a normally is an F63T63 impairment, and in Rio he was an F42, and he was born with a congenital impairment onto the left leg, as you can see here in the picture, and he's a shot putter with a personal best in Rio of 13.91 to achieve a bronze medal. Now let's have a look at what Tyron Pillay have to say with regards to his training and also his Olympic preparation. So without further ado, let's have a look at what Tyron has to say.
Hi there everyone, my name is Tyron Pillay, bronze medalist from the Rio Paralympic Games.
Mr. Pandu, you have 5 minute time.
Yes, okay.
It's been a pleasure of mine to work alongside Avinash Pandu. He's been my strength and conditioning coach for a large amount of time of my career, and I've learned a hell of a lot from him.
Yep.
I've learned how to basically be better as an athlete mentally and physically. And I think as a coach, he's a phenomenal person, someone who I really look up to, and I think because of him, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't have got things that I have because of him. So I must say thank you so much to him for that. The importance of weightlifting in my life, I think it's quite simple. Every power athlete needs to have weightlifting, simple as that. I mean, what I've seen in my own personal development when I started weightlifting compared to before my weightlifting days was tremendous. I mean, I was training kind of like a bodybuilder type of guy, didn't have that explosive power, didn't understand how to train specifically for my sport. So one of the nice things now was that I got into a world where I actually started to understand how I needed to train specific stuff. I mean, we worked on technique, we worked on all sorts of things. And I still remember the first couple of weeks where I first learned weightlifting. He gave me a broomstick and he made me just literally snatch and clean with that the whole time until I developed the technique. And I think that's the important thing, is that technique. Once you get the technique, everything else becomes so much easier to you.
So
and I'm proud of him.
I will stop that conversation here. So you can see here that he was very, very precise on the fact that technique was the key importance in delivering that. So here I want to bring you up a bit about the high performance coach. So a high performance coach is not only a person that's just here to look at the performance of the athletes. He works also within different other parameters such as physios, psychologists, strength and conditioning experts, nutritionists, etc., etc. So all these are needed in order to deliver the performance. The gears for high performance, I want to bring to you here. You have also that slides in front of you that we need many, many other skills that are needed to bring together in order to make high performance achievable. In psychology, for example, we can see that we need focus, confidence, commitment, skills. Often coaches are not working enough on skills, either it is an open skills, closed skills, complex, strategies, and so on, through to emotions. Okay, character. So I'm just going to push a bit into it since Paria has given me the time allocation. So you can see here, coaches, that you need a whole variety of areas in order to make performance achievable. So now we're going to look at the qualities of strength, which Pai Kawit also spoke this morning. So we have in strength, we have the 4 key areas that I have put through here. Is the maximum strength endurance, is speed strength, otherwise known as power, or strength endurance in its plain name. So here I brought you up the factors. So what I did was I looked at strength and how can I implement it with the aspects of Olympic lifts. You will see here that I have limited a lot on the repetitions and so on, because why? I want to gain the maximum benefits from what I'm working up with. So in terms of maximum strength, important for me to understand is the physiological muscle sections of the muscle, the amount of motor unit recruitment. Okay, Paekawit also spoke about this morning. So in terms of maximum strength, if I'm working between 80 and 90% of sub-maximum, I will do about 7 to 10 sets, 2 to 1 repetitions, and so on as you go here. So you can have a look at it at home, you can browse through it. In terms of speed strength or power, if I'm developing that, I need to know what's the level of a maximum strength first before I can develop power. Often I see coaches working on power, but they don't even know where the athletes are. So obviously you are either shooting too high, which will create overtraining and injuries, or if we are shooting too low, we are gaining definitely no benefits in terms of that. Also important to note is the central nervous system. Okay, so if we're working between 70 to 80%, we work 7 to 10 sets, 2 to 1 repetition, so that we are getting enough of power. If we are working 5, 6, 7, it's falling out in terms of endurance. The athletes start breaking up in terms of third attempt, third repetitions. Definitely the power start breaking up in terms of compensations and so on. Now, in terms of strength endurance, here you can start seeing that the level of repetitions start increasing and the sets start to decrease. In terms of strength endurance, we need to know the base endurance. What is the capacity of the athlete in delivering endurance? What's the base? Also, the maximum strength of the athlete. And when we talk about endurance, very key importance here is the level of withstanding stress of endurance and the level of technical execution. Often I see coaches placing up endurance work, and we find out after 3, 4, 5 repetitions, the techniques start to breaking up, which means that the level of endurance is not enough to match what we want to work with. So again, down here, I put you some areas you can simulate, you can work with, you can play with, so that you can gain the maximum benefits. And in terms of strength endurance, you want to have that last finish, for example, 6 to 10 reps, 2 to 1 repetitions. And there again, your level of strength endurance, level of maximum strength, the athlete's level of motivation, okay, and also the level of aerobic to anaerobic capacity. This is key. Here I put you up intensity, age, strength and repetitions. This is a bit of long-term athlete development. With regards to age, how it works is basically based on your hormone levels. So as you're growing up, obviously your hormones getting better, your muscular system is getting better, your strength, maximum strength, therefore can increase as you start growing older. So you will see here that maximum strength is not imposed on a 10 up to about 14 years old, but from 16 years old upwards, the maximum strength is start to being tested more frequently, as well as your maximum strength endurance. So strength and conditioning played also a very, very high point into my training with my team. Here we were together with CrossFits, learning a bit about CrossFit, gaining a bit more strength and conditioning for our weightlifters. This was prior to the 2016 Olympic Games. So you can, and here in terms of strength and conditioning, we have a small video also here, so you can see the drills, the ladders that it was. So basically making sure that the drills that the athletes are doing faster and conditioning themselves. Okay. The nutrition strategies, how we were training during Ramadan was also very, very important. So we had to have a very big challenge, is how to train, because it was right before our tapering phase, before the Olympics. And here also you have the slides. We have to consider the effects of fasting on performance and so on, our sleep and wake up cycle, our fluid intakes and so on, and also the shift on the circadian rhythms and so on. So all these were taken into consideration before the starts of tapering. All right. And let me tell you, even that we had very good results, many PBs, near PBs during this period. So that means that we made a very good effect onto the Ramadan training, and our athletes could go on and taper safely with a good psychology that they are in a good shape going into the Olympic preparation. Now I'll bring you up to my next point, Paria, quickly, is the monitoring and evaluation. Without monitoring and evaluation, you cannot analyze whether you're going through success or whether you're going through failures. So coaches, monitoring and evaluation is critical to success. Make sure that you are doing, if you're gaining enough of the strength endurance, if you're gaining enough of the maximal strength, you will not know it if you're not monitoring and you are not doing evaluations. Okay, you're under training and overtraining. I spoke to it earlier on. If you're not evaluating, you may be falling into an overtraining zone or an undertraining areas. You're not overreaching, therefore you're not going to get top performance. So this is important. And you can see here, all your sports stresses, fatigue, sleep, calorie intake, hydrations, and so on are key important. And that's not only for weightlifting, it is implemented right through in terms of other sports as well. Coaching tips, last 2 slides before I end up, Paria. Do I still have time with you, Paria? Hello?
Okay. You can continue with
Okay.
the 2 minutes. Yeah.
In terms of my coaching tips to coaches, please have a multitude of objectives, okay, measures available to you. Make sure that you set realistic goals and progressively increase on them. Often we see that due to a lack of monitoring and evaluation, we cannot progress on our goals. That's why athletes are staying stagnant. Okay, Paria made a very good mention in Thailand. That's why they have Paekawit. I know because I have done many coaching clinics and also worked with the Thailand team before. Is I know that they have very good monitoring and evaluation parameters available over there, and that's why they're making a huge success. Point out improvements and all mistakes and be close to the athletes. Often we tend to see, blue-eyed kids. Coaches tend to be close to the athletes who are improving and tend to be less close to the athletes who are falling down in performance. So we need to be able to point out improvements and mistakes and be close to both ways. Good or bad performance, we need to be close to the athletes and bring up to them what needs to be improved. Analysis of opponents. Often coaches are analyzing opponents without discussing it with their athletes. So coaches know the strong and weak points of the opponent, but not the athlete. Therefore, the tactics not going to work. Okay, so work onto that, especially when you're dealing with power sports and so on like this. You need to make an analysis with your coaches. So these are what I've seen into my coaching experience. The next point I want to bring in, utilize the power of silence to analyze and talk when needed with reference to cues to athletes. Often we find coaches on the sidelines, they are talking non-stop. They are giving cues non-stop, okay? Please, coaches, you need to understand also that your athletes are fully into a focus zone when he's on the field or whether he's on the tarmac, on the boxing ground and so on. So he needs in that full focus. So you need to be able to give the power of silence and give that cues very specific for that athlete to be able to get the base of it, okay? So this is key importance. Either it is internal, external cues, hybrid cues, make sure that you're giving that specific cues so that it is implemented right on the point, okay? Now, with skills and athleticism deemed equal, you will all agree with me. When we're going to competition, Pafani, you made earlier on that everybody out there is, we are going into competition, we are all ready. But it is the stronger athlete who will usually prevail during any athletic competition. We can have two athletes, the same technique and everything, but obviously the best one will win. And the best one is obviously the strongest athlete. So here, coaches, you need to develop the athlete ability in that strength factor, not only working on skills, not only working on areas focusing on competitions, but you need to develop that athlete in the belief system, in the central nervous system, into the energy system, into the hormone system, that they are actually going out there as a much stronger athlete. Okay, so this is my last point to you all, and I would like to take this to say thank you very much to Paria for giving me the opportunity to share a bit some of my key success, how I made this work possible within different sports as well. So I thank you, Paria, and I give you the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Avenas Pandu. I think a lot of very valuable information. And I think it's give us very balanced information. In the other side, they give us a lot of experience, but in the other side, give a lot of theory and very quality information to develop the good athlete. So I think we already have watching and hear almost 2 hours. Now the time to for us to make interaction. But for me, I think there is some question for you here. The first question was, Mr. Fahmi, as we know, this year there is no championship, but we have COVID here. So how to manage, how to maintain the training, the condition. So maybe you read already the question. So Fahmi, can you give some answer?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Paria. I saw the message from Mr. Arlan, Jawa Timur. He's a good coach. Many champion with him to work together. The problem is same with us. COVID push you stay at home. In my video, we training because the COVID. We training with the equipment, simple equipment, but say sorry because the video cannot play. So I suggest from you for you the pond as a target. The National Olympic competition is next year, so we still have much time for preparation. Don't push your athlete too high intensity, because if you push too high now, the problem is he's so tired and getting down the next time. So I mean, you only have a program for maintenance, endurance, maintenance, muscle, maintenance, all. Maybe this time is good for you for the make sure the technique and tactical, because technical and tactical needed more time for training. So this is a good time for you for focus to technical and tactical, but the physical you keep it the time for maintenance condition, only maintenance. Don't push high intensity there. Thank you, Arya.
Thank you very much, Fahmi. Maybe Mr. Avenas Pandu, you also want to respond about this question, because this question I think is a little bit general about to maintain the condition during the COVID. Your microphone.
We made a very good presentation, I think 2 weeks ago, with Kemenpora with regards to COVID-19 training from home. And I think what is important there is during COVID-19, the emphasis should not be placed on performance, but rather on health of the athletes, maintaining the health of the athletes, maintaining the skills. Sorry, due to the fact that many athletes do not have the necessary equipment available at home, therefore it is important for coaches to be able to monitor through Zoom. Maybe one of the areas that we are looking in through Zoom is to monitor the skills training of athletes. Make sure at this time that we are doing, for example, a bit of maybe a bit more flexibility workout, a bit more technical workout, a bit more core stability, for example, and looking at those areas. And also maybe during this COVID-19 is also a very good area for us to maybe recover a bit some of those injuries, work out a bit on those weaknesses that our athletes may have. For example, Pafani, into combat sport, maybe an athlete is not doing maybe a good defense. So maybe you can take this point now and focus during the COVID-19 onto that athletes working on defense, because sometimes during extensive preparation, we don't have the time to make very key areas on that. So maybe this is a key principle during the COVID-19 to work a bit maybe on skills. Like we are working a lot on strength and conditioning for our athletes with weightlifting, even though that they do have equipments now at home, we have made available, but we have limit the training to only 1 instead of 2 per day. And the afternoon we make strength and conditioning, where we're working on core stability, balance, coordination, and also strength in various aspects of the body. So we're looking now at a more general overview of the athlete's ability in terms of training. So I think I did have one questions earlier on with regard to Dr. Natarajan. I think you brought up to the question of, do we have to do core or strength training first? Depend. You cannot do strength training with an athlete with a poor core stability, because your core is the one that activates first. So I would even go to say that you need to start learning the activations of the core first, and then go on in terms of your maximal strength ability. So it is a point of which one comes first, the chicken or the egg. So try to look at if an athlete have a poor stability, core stability, he will not be able to perform a very good back squats, for example. So you're not gaining any posterior chain reaction in terms of the back squats execution. So here you can go on and look at the core stability and core strength first before you go on to the back squat. So these are areas we can look at now here during a COVID-19 situation, for example. Work onto the core stability before we go on to our full season, building up the full maximum strength. So that's maybe answer a bit in general.
Thank you very much, Mr. Venas. And another question from Yusnita from Sport Climbing. He said asked about the squat, whether they can use the squat jump exercise or maybe half squat or full squat, because in the sport climbing, they have three. The lead is they looking for the time, but also the what is the point is I think set up with according to the judge, and also border is more to the hanging situation, and you know already the border, and the last one is speed. So which of the conditioning, or I mean the squat can be done? Maybe this question also can be for Pak Fahmi and also for Mr. Avenas. Mr. Pandu, can you answer first?
Yes. Okay, so I will go in onto that first. And in terms of the climbing sports, with regards to the three areas, I would say here you need to look at which group you're working with, for example. So you want to develop the full range of motions or the partial movements, okay? A half squat to a full squat is basically a full range to a partial range. So you need to look at again now here, what are you looking at? What are your aim and objectives? If you're looking at a full range of motions, obviously here your squats will be, full squats will be important with an explosive phase, because you're always, you know, pulling and extending. You want to get that eccentric, concentric simulation, the same as you'll be doing in terms of your sport. So if you're looking at maybe a power building, a small strength building, you can do your half squats maybe and holds and then extension. So these are also areas. So again, it will depend on to your strategies on when are you going to be working it and what your sports you're going to be looking at. Other boulders or speed climbing, for example, I would say where you're recruiting a lot of arms, legs, so you will perform the full squats, but at a very good tempo. Your rhythm, your tempo will be key. Either you'll be going down fast, coming up fast, or dropping down slow, coming up fast, or dropping, you know, slow, fast, coming up slow. So it will depend on to different variations that you will use.
Okay, thank you very much, the answer. And maybe Coach Fahmi, you want to add something, or you agree with this question? Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Paria. I think Mr. Pandu told very much about the strength and power. It's very good. So I only talk about the warning about the flexibility and balance, because for climbing athletes, if you not good balance of flexibility, many energy is loose. Many energy very loose. So you must be balanced training with the flexibility and balance compared with the power. I saw the competition in the Palembang speed climbing. They're very fast. They're very fast. So, but if they not good balance, the energy very out. In Indonesia is mubazir, ya. Out from the body, but not in the functional. No good time, no good result. So in the 1 week season, they must be for athlete climbing, they needed one time for flexibility and balance time. Thank you, Maria.
Maria, can I ask one question, please?
Okay, please. Now you can ask a question direct in the room.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Pandu again. I'm Subramania from Malaysia. Very nice presentation. Thank you very much. There's one slide which I saw on the relationships on strength training, on intensity, strength, age, and repetitions. So your slide was very attractive. And then the first, you had the age and age 10 to 12. So is this one for the weight trainers or for other sports or athletics? Because I see the first one, age 10 to 12, you have had strength, maximum speed strength, strength endurance, and maximum strength. So in athletics, we are encouraged not to start training the age of 10 and 12. Only not, I mean, weight training. We are allowed to do strength training using body weight
Yes.
and other things, but no weight training. But here it looks like weight training. Can you just clarify a bit? Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, yes, sir. So in here, what we are looking at is, I'm giving a type of gauging, because if we are looking at swimming, for example, or even in athletics, we are doing some sort of training where we are looking at different types of strength that we are engaging. Okay, so in terms of what I'm looking at here, as I'm talking on a long-term athlete development, in terms of a long-term athlete development, in terms of age, between the 10 to 14 years of age, their hormonal system is not fully mature. So therefore, we don't want to insist on a maximum strength development or utilizing 100% of capacity. So that's why you will see here that it is only 70 to 80, but we looked at how the athlete is performing and so on there. So the coach here can look at what is the ability of the athlete that can deliver, maybe in terms of in brackets I'm talking now, right, in terms of a maximum strength, and from there on he can start drawing out what can be the strength, endurance, and so on like this. So this is more based in terms of a long-term athlete development, because into our sports for weightlifting or even many other sports, that competitions are already being allowed at the age of 14 and 15 years old. So in terms of, let's look at the Youth Olympics, for example. The Youth Olympics is already starting at the age of 15, 16. So for that, an athlete must be doing training at least 4 years before. So we're looking at about an 11-year-old, already, so we can start engaging some sort of maximal strength. Again, I mentioned it in between inverted commas, where coaches can look at, okay, if you can do this X amount of weight for 5 repetitions, for example, okay, then maybe plus 10% on or 12% on will be the maximum strength of that athlete at this given moment. So as you go about, you can start deriving all the speed, strength, power, and endurance, and so on. So it's more on a long-term athlete development on how you're going to be looking at it as the athlete will be developing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sarriya, can I ask question from Sir Pandu?
Okay, so before Mr. Sabir asking question, I would like underline Mr. Amba question, because Mr. Amba question is the same question with Mr. Bora Venkata Reddy, I think. He asked also about the age and the strength training. Mr.
Yes.
Bora is the expert of biomechanics, Newton law number 4. So I think it's very important. And Mr. Amba already gave in a good question from Mr. Bora also. So now I give floor to Mr. Sabir to give question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir Pandu, Assalamu alaikum. Sir Pandu, comprehensive presentation on strength training. You have already cleared all the doubts. But I want to ask one thing which is related to strength training of shot putters or discus throwers, all the throwers of athletics. Once they do 2 to 3 hard training sessions with a percentage of maybe 80 to 90% in a week. So what should be the rest and recovery of the athletes, central nervous system, and the muscular rest and recovery? Please throw light on the recovery of the athletes.
Mr. Ghulam, this is a very, very good point. Are you from Pakistan?
Yeah, I'm from Pakistan, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ghulam, this is a very, very good point, and I actually work very, very strongly with regards to the nervous system, energy system, and the hormonal system, hormonal muscular system, with regards to rest and recovery for performance. So now, when we're looking at this, having worked with shot put athletes in the past, what you are mentioning is very, very strongly a serious point for coaches to look into. What we tend to see is often if coaches are not monitoring, here what I use, Mr. Ghulam, is I use the RPE, the rate of perceived exhaustion. After each training session, I give the athlete what is the rate of perceived exhaustion. It's unfortunately that you don't have the whole video of Tyrone where he spoke about how we were dealing with recoveries every single session. How are you feeling today? Was there any muscle soreness? The next day, was there any muscle soreness? What part of the areas of muscle soreness was there in terms of yesterday's training? From there, I will be able to have a better understanding on how the athlete is coping at, and also working out one key factor here was the GAS principle, the general adaptation syndrome, where I'm working on the alarm phase, the resistance, and also exhaustion. So I'm looking at adaptation. I want to keep pushing sometimes the athlete beyond the level of fatigue and not crashing, okay, just to get that new level of adaptation. Obviously, if we push too much, we will get injuries. So, Mr. Ghulam, here you need to be very, very specific in terms of how long you got to put it. What I have find out is if I work, for example, 2 weeks in heavy training, 80% to 90%, in the third week, I drop the level. Maybe I put only speed training, or I just even put a very low week and allow the athletes to recover. And the following week, I can change the variations again to maybe 1+1, 1 heavy week, 1 low week, 2 heavy weeks, 1 low week, and start creating the key aspects here is creating a new level of adaptations. And that is important by creating a variations into your intensity and volume zone. So this was the key principles without losing control on your RPE, your rate of perceived exhaustion. If an athlete rated on a number 7 for me, I cut the training right there. Even if it is on the second day of the second week, I cut the training. Why? Because I'm going into a red zone. The red zone, depending if it is on a preparatory phase, middle area of preparatory phase, I can maybe keep pushing. But if it is around the end zone, I might be looking for serious trouble of injuries. So I will cut it down and bring immediately a low week and review again my whole periodization level. So this was important here, Mr. Ghulam, the RPE and variations of intensity and volume, but don't drop your key aspects of training. Sometimes you need that adaptation by pushing the athlete to that higher level. Okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Avanas Pandu. So I think we come to the last question today. There are questions from Mr. Darius Mudin. My kids play golf since 2016. He's 12 years old now and play good already, but the problem is technically he's okay, but in terms of strength, he's not that very good about the strength. So I think you can give a suggestion to Mr. Darius about the kids, and also maybe it's not only for Mr. Avanas, but also for Sabam Fahmi. Maybe I gave Mr. Fahmi first maybe to answer this question regarding the strength for the kids.
Yep, thank you, Paria. I mean, golf athlete?
Yes, golf.
Okay.
Still 12 years old.
Okay. A golf needed upper body good because the bodies must be static, dynamic only the two hands. So the rotation is very important because control rotation. If too much, the direction is different, long for the target. So for the young athlete, I think it's same. Don't give the athlete too much weight training. Good for the children. Coordination training. Training is like becoming with own body weight and simple equipment weight for the athlete, like upper body training for golf, like with the rubber, with the Swiss ball. It's nice. It's nice because we can put the program static and dynamic balance. The target is as control rotation. I like that, Mr. Ria.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fahmi. And now for the closure, Mr. Avanas Pandu, you can give answer. and maybe end statement can be, please.
Yes, I think in terms of the golf, I would agree with what Pafani just made the mention here. Look, your strength development will not happen at the age of 10 to 13 years old, maximum strength development. So obviously you're not going to get that, but I would rather address the areas which you mentioned about techniques. So obviously here there's the areas of skills. Okay, so address the areas of skills development first. Look at maybe the core stability, look at balance, look at coordination. All these areas are important into golf as you play. And as the athletes start developing, you in terms of age, you can start developing that area of strength as well. So again, but try to find out what is the strength of that athlete at that given moment. You can. Any athlete will have a certain strength level. Any kid, any athlete will have a certain strength level that you can look at and maybe gauge on. So try to take it from there. But skills when they are young is key.
Thank you very much. So even we talk about the strength training, actually the central nervous system is very important. Skill is very important. Coordination first. So that's why all the speakers talk about the central nervous system and coordination and skill training. That's why please do not be hurry to come to the very high level strength, but come to the skill training first and central nervous system. I think that's very good suggestion from all the speakers. And thank you very much for Mr. Ekawit, Mr. Fahmi, and Mr. Afinas Pandu. I think we have very good presentation today and a good discussion. And I do hope you can take something important from this international webinar. And we will come back again maybe next month and next week we will have a rest, but maybe after next week or in 2 weeks, we will come back again to the training plan for conditioning training. So this will be also very important. And I think, again, thank you very much to Mr. Ekawit, Sabum Fahmi, and Mr. Afinas Pandu. Salute, give salute to all the speakers. Thank you very much for coming. And I'm happy because all the participants are still coming here with 3.
Thank you, Mr. Riyad.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Thank you all of you speaker and Ria.
Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Pak Ria. Thank you very much.
Thank
you,
situation.
Thank you, Pak Riyad.
Terima kasih Pak Ria.
Terima kasih Pak Ria, Pak Fahmi.
Terima kasih Pak Ria, semua speaker.
Thank you.
Ada penyelenggara ini. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Pak Fahmi.
Pak Ria.
Salam dari Bali.
Pak Ria.
Yono.
Thank you.
Before you leave, I give you information. Before you leave, I give you information regarding the certificate. You have the groups, then you come to the group and asking certificate from the host of the group, then you will print out and send to your email address automatically. So come to the group.
Thank you, Mr. Ria.
Thank you very much.
Sora.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir, Dr. Ria. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bu Lili, thank you Bu Lili. Ketemu lagi Bu Lili.
Bu Lili ada ya? Bu Lili, terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Mr. Fahmi.
Lili, terima kasih.
Baru
Lagi
Gusti.
sebenarnya Bu Lili.
Saya doakan ya.
Sampai ketemu lagi
Ya.
Pak Ria, terima kasih Pak Ria. Terima kasih.
Ambat, thank you Ambat.
Sudah lapar, sudah lapar.
Lapar.
Ria, mohon izin. Sampai ketemu lagi. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you.
Pak Ria, terima kasih.
Terima kasih Pak Ria. Terima kasih Pak Ria.
Pak Ria semuanya, terima kasih.
Terima kasih Pak Ria.
Pak Herman, Abalia, thank you.
Thank you Pak Ria.
Mas Sri, thank you.
Okay, Maria, I will log off, yeah? Bye.
Yes, thank you, Ahmed, Pandu. I will call you later.
Thank you for presentation. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Terima kasih Pak. Terima kasih.
Kasih Pak.
Thank you, Mr. Fahmi.
Kasih Pak Masri, thank you. Adif, matur nuwun.
Terima kasih Prof. G.
Sama-sama.
Bos Ria, thank you so much.
Oh, Prof. G, halo ya.
Yeah.
Mr. Ria, if you're using WhatsApp, please add to me.
Yeah, sure.
Terima kasih Pak Ria dan semua speakers dan semua yang
Thank you.
coba kembali.
Terima kasih.
Thank you, Ray.
Ketemu minggu
Thank you,
depan.
Pak Tony Kak Goya, thank you.
Terima kasih untuk para coach semuanya. Terima kasih share ilmunya.
Masih ke Ketua ICC Pak Devi. Sudah.
Thank you so much, Sir Ria. Thank you so much, Sir Ria. God bless you. See you soon.
You sure. Prof Gi, terima kasih Rawi pun.
Terima kasih Pak ya.
Profesornya yang segera sepertian profesornya Pak Ria.
Amin. Terima kasih doanya.
Thank you Pak Ria.
Thank you, Pak.
Okay. See you for the next time. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, Pak Ori.
Thank you, yes, sir. Giving me opportunity.
You turn low number 4. How are you? Professor Kata ready.
Nice to see you, sir, after a long time.
Yeah, sure. Nice
to give me this opportunity to learn.
Yeah, we will meet again.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Okay.
Bye, Pak.
Thank you, Sir Ria, Dr. Ria. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jay. All time. Thank you for coming.
Makasih Pak Ria, salam Pak Davi.
Terima kasih, Pak Mazri. Bisa dicek di YouTube juga ya, di YouTube di grup sudah saya linknya YouTube, nanti bisa dilihat lagi. You can watch it on YouTube also later. Mr. Pito, Mr. Abdul Dr. Sawali bagaimana, sudah profesor atau belum?
Belum, Prof. Masih tunggu bimbingan dari Pak Ria.
Saya belum, Prof. Saya dibimbing Prof ini sekarang. Biar tuh.
Terima kasih, Prof. Pertanyaannya menjadikan saya buat untuk sifatnya, Prof.
Semangat.
Jajar sama Pak Ria.
Mas Yogi. Makasih, Mas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Musa. Oh,
yeah.
You are not on duty.
Yeah, not in duty. I will see.
Yeah. Mas Rosin.
Thank you very much. It was excellent.
Okay, Musa. Chowin. Thank you, Chowin.
Yes, Mr. Ria. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Berlawak.
Pak Fahmi sudah keluar. Kabem Fahmi.
Dokter Fahmi mana ini? Dokter Fahmi.
Mempersiapkan acara berikutnya jam 2.
Mantap. Oh, jam 2. Salah dulu lah.
Ngopi dulu, Pak.
Ngopi dulu, Mas Yogi. Daripada ngantuk. Dari restoran Dranawari mau makan dulu atau apa dulu gitu.
Lebaran nggak bisa mudik ini, Pak.
Wah iya, repot ini. Berarti di Jogja aja ini. Mas Yogi di mana?
Jogjanya di Sleman.
Oke, makasih ya. Sampai ketemu 2 minggu lagi. 2 minggu lagi.
Terima kasih, Coach.
Programnya, ya 2 minggu lagi program latihan untuk conditioning.
Thank you, Coach.
Ya, ikut lagi, Prof. Ya, ikut lagi.
Ya, Pak Sawali.
Ya, Pak Arya.
Pak Tevi lah, Pak Kendut.
Pak Raymond dari Kaltim nih.
Dari Bengkayang, Kalimantan.
Iya, Pak Raymond.
Saya lagi di hutan. Sambil menikmati programnya. Luar biasa, Coach. Thank you.
Terima kasih, thank you.
Salam dari Bengkayang, Kalimantan Barat.
Wah, Amoy ini. Dari Kalimantan Barat, Pak Rido. Saya suka nyebrang ke Sarawak, Pak.
Nanti nyebrang ke Kendari, Prof.
Wah, itu yang harus ke Kendari belum nyebrang,
Ya.
belum sempat nyebrang.
Mudah-mudahan corona cepat selesai.
Ya, insya Allah. Mudah-mudahan.
Amin, Prof. Amin, amin, Pak Arya, amin.
Oke, terima kasih teman-teman semua ya. Saya leave dulu karena saya udah lapar. Sudah mengamati Bapak-Bapak dengan perasaan gembira, tapi ternyata lapar juga saya. Saya kira saya lupa makan, ternyata ini sekarang lapar. Oke, sampai ketemu. Terima kasih partisipasinya. JJ from Brunei, thank you very much for be with us. See you ya in the strength conditioning course.
Sama-sama Pak, sama-sama. Terima kasih ya jemputnya.
Sure. Mbak Justina semua. Ya. Silakan dilanjut, saya leave dulu.
Kita ketemu lagi.
Terima kasih.
Pak Rosid.
Thank you. Maria. For your leave, I give you information. For your leave, I give you information regarding the certificate. You have to do asking certificate from the cost of the lagi Bu Lili. Lapar. Terima kasih Maria, terima kasih Maria. Mantap, terima kasih. Terima kasih, Pak.
Nah, habis. Yo, makasih tuh.
Makasih Pak Oke.
Ada suara orang batuk.
Semua speaker.
Thank you.
para coach semuanya.
Mudah-mudahan sehat-sehat terus para coach ada di sini. Jangan lupa salam dari Bengkayang, Kalimantan Barat.
Halo. Yang punya Bengkayang mana? Yang punya Bengkayang?
Pak Imam.
Halo.
Bengkayang.
Iya, namanya Ridho Dewi itu ngapain Ridho Dewi?
Itu punya anak punya.
Itu.
Ayo Bekasi mana Bekasi?
Udah nongol dari tadi.
Terima kasih semuanya. Clap dulu.
Ya. Ini Bu Mutia mana ini? Ibu Mutia mana nih? Lama aku
Hadir Imam.
Itu Ibu Mutia itu.
Tuh.
Lagi sibuk.
Oh iya. Kayaknya Pak Ade Rosyid ada juga itu dari Banten.
Ada. Dia lagi latih anak-anak tuh. Mana Restu?
Mana Restu? Makasih Pak Ria, salam
Gus Rijal. Mak lalu itu matinya.
Kapan acara berikutnya?
Ayo izin Pak Mutia. Salam buat semuanya. Salam hormat, salam santun, salam olahraga.